Hello everybody. Today we're going to be looking at Linda Miller's work. Now Linda Miller is a free machiner. Now the thing I find most exciting about Linda's work is that first and foremost she's an artist in the sense that she draws all her work before she starts stitching. What Linda likes to do is capture the magic of everyday life and then translate that drawing into stitch. I would say that the palette of her colour is her thread and that her pen is the actual needle, and through constant overlaying of stitching through her free machining she's able to portray a beautiful narrative picture. It's in her blood. Her parents were stitchers, as indeed was her grandfather. In her demo today, Linda is going to teach us how to free machine, and we're going to be making a brooch. But first of all, of course, we have to start with the sketch, from sketch to stitch.
My name's Holly. I'm really interested with your work. Could you tell me about yourself and your work?
Of course. Hello Holly. My name's Linda Miller and I'm a machine embroiderer, and my work is pictorial machine embroidery. I think of it as freestyle machine embroidery. I draw with the needle of my sewing machine, so I treat my sewing machine like a paintbrush and I paint with thread. My work is pictorial, so it mainly contains figures, animals, birds, little creatures, and I suppose each piece is a little story within its own self. I don't always say what the story is about because I like often the viewer to decide what's going on in a piece.
Could you tell me where you derive your inspiration?
Yes, I think like all of us we gather inspiration from the world around us, and so I just wander through life and I see things and I think things, books and magazines, cinema. It all adds to the rich wealth of ideas, I think.
And do you take photos or sketch?
No, I don't take any photographs. I sketch a lot. I do a lot of drawing, and then from the drawings I then will make one big drawing. If I have say I have an idea, I'll make lots of little drawings until I get like a composition, and then I make one big drawing and then I work from that. So that's like my initial, I suppose I treat it a bit like a pattern really, like as if you were making a dress or a garment. I suppose the drawing, I treat them as a pattern.
You mentioned that you don't take photos.
Yes.
So is everything about memories?
I think I see things and sometimes they stay with me for quite a long time before I actually make a piece about it. So yes, and I know that I'm aware of colour and light all the time. I think about it a lot, and I think, like you say, those colours and light and the images, it just sort of sticks with me, and then the pieces come out.
So when it comes to picking colour,
yes,
how do you go about that?
I often think about the colour as I'm drawing the piece. All my drawings are done in black and white, and it's not until I start to stitch that I then think about colour. So when my piece is drawn onto paper, and then it's then that I think about colour. So then I choose the colours from my great big wealth of threads that I have, and I put them onto lids or in baskets, and I treat them like my artist's palette. So like where you would squeeze out tubes of paint, I've already got my spools of thread all ready to go. But often as I'm making and I'm working, the colours will change within a piece, because sometimes you think of one particular blue, but when it comes to using that, it's not the right colour, so you choose one that's sort of similar, if that makes sense.
Linda, could you show us how you begin a piece in your sketchbook?
Yes, of course. Well, let's see. If I was going to be making a brooch, which hopefully we will be making later on, I suppose I draw out the rough size of the brooch and then I would think about what was going to go in it. So let's say, for instance, we've got a little princess. So put her crown in and her hair. And then it would be, although the drawing is just in black and white, I'd think about what colour hair she was going to have. Something like this maybe. And what the background was going to be, whether she'd be indoors or whether she'd be outside or maybe at the seaside with a lighthouse or something. So it would be a rough working drawing really to begin with. And then I would translate that onto the fabric, either by drawing it once more onto the fabric or by drawing it directly with the needle of the sewing machine and some black thread. And starting on that really.
So do you have to be good at drawing?
No, you don't have to be good at drawing. Maybe a little bit of practice. Practice does make perfect. You just need to have the confidence to do it really. So choose an object that you like, or if you see children playing, and just try and sketch.
So you would perhaps start with a simple shape like a heart or a
Yes,
star?
a heart is a jolly good one to start with, and a star too, because they're nice shapes, they're easy, and if the heart goes wrong, you can always turn it into a strawberry.
So once you've done the drawing in your
Yes.
sketchbook, how do you go about translating that onto fabric?
It's quite simple really. There's two ways of doing it. You can either draw your drawing into your sketch pad, tear it off, stick it onto a windowsill or a light box, stick your calico over the top and draw it through, or you can draw directly with the needle of your sewing machine, trying to not copy your original drawing because that would be virtually impossible, but using it as a starting inspirational point. And drawing with the needle of your sewing machine can be a bit scary, but it's jolly good practice. This is one that I did a little while ago. So I did actually draw this onto paper first, and then I stuck this over the paper and drew it through. And it's half filled in, as you can see. And all I've done so far is put her skin colour in and some nice big rosy cheeks. So I'm going to have to think now about what colour to do the crown, the hair and the background.
So the black line in that is your drawn image?
Yes, it is. It is. And I made the black lines quite thick for the nose and the eyes and the mouth. And then when you come to put the skin colour in, it doesn't matter if you go into the black lines that you've made, because the black line being a bit thicker, if you do, you can easily snip it away.
Is it the process that you enjoy the most?
Gosh, that's the question, isn't it? I love working with my sewing machine. I've always sewn and I've always stitched, and there's something very mesmerising, I think, about the sound of a sewing machine or the rhythm of stitching either with hand as well. And so I suppose it is the process that I like, but it seems almost as though, and this is going to sound rather peculiar really, that almost like the machine needle is in your hand and you're holding it as you sew, if that makes sense.
Your pictures seem like very simple designs, but do you have any tips for the novice?
Yes, keep it simple. Less is more. Make something that you enjoy making. If you start a piece and it's not going very well and you carry on and you get to a certain point and you think, I don't like it, then stop making it and start another one, because it's pointless carrying on with a piece that you're unhappy with.
So your work's very narrative. Does everyone draw the same story from each picture?
No, I think a lot of people see themselves in my work, and that's why I don't really like talking about what the story is behind the piece. I mean, not all pieces have stories behind them. People often see themselves or their families or their cats or their dogs in my work, and I love that because it means that it's touched a nerve with them and it's nice, very nice.
So your work really speaks to its audience?
I suppose it does, yes. Yes, and I don't mean that to happen, it just does.
So what type of threads do you use?
You can use any type of thread you want to. You can use ordinary dressmaking thread that you use for curtain making, specialty machine embroidery threads. I mean, look at these colours, they're just fabulous. These are machine embroidery threads. They come in two weights. They come in a 30 weight and a 40 weight. A 40 weight is thinner than a 30, so it takes more stitching. If your thread goes through your machine, then use it. If it works, fine. If it doesn't work, then try something else. There's so many different types of thread on the market today. I would just say try them all and see what you like. There's rayon, there's metallic, there's all sorts. Some machines are a bit sensitive to different threads. I've got some other lovely ones here. Look at these super metallic ones. These are absolutely marvellous. And they give such lovely, luscious effects. They're just wonderful. So anything really. Ask for them for presents. Better than any chocolates. There's silk, rayon, metallic, cotton, anything. Polycotton, just try them all and see which ones you like. I'm rather partial to viscose because it's a very nice thread to use. If you find that you're sewing with a thread and it's not working very well, or you're putting a colour down that you're unhappy with, then stop. Because once you've started to sew and it's down, it's quite difficult to unpick it. So the sooner you've realised that you're going a bit wrong, take a quick unpicker and unpick it. Or if you've done too much of one block of colour, then you'll have to carry on with it really, because it's very difficult to put another thread over the top. It makes the piece very lumpy and very bumpy and difficult to work on. So it is a bit trial and error. But what you can do is when you're working on a piece, try out different thread mixtures on the side, and then when you're happy with the colour and the type of thread, then put it into your actual piece of work. It saves a lot of time.
So what's your favourite thread?
Oh, I've got lots of thread that I like using. I like using ordinary dressmaking thread because I like the matte sheen on it, but I also like these machine embroidery threads, which are very nice. These ones are viscose and they hold their colour beautifully. They're very nice to use. I don't know if I've got a particular favourite. I suppose sometimes it's about colours, if I'm after a particular colour. So I would look at the collection of threads that I've got and choose that particular brown or that particular green, whether it's a machine embroidery thread or whether it's an ordinary dressmaking thread.
So you use the threads like a painter would use paint.
Yes, I do.
Can you mix two colours together?
You can. That's a very good question. You can. There's lots of different ways that you can mix your thread. You can have two different threads in. So you could have a blue in the bobbin and a green on the top, and then tighten up your top tension, which makes the bobbin thread come up from underneath. So you get lovely little spots of colour. You could have green on the top and green in the bobbin, and colour in half of your piece in that shade of green, and then change to a different colour green, same green in the bobbin, same green in the top, and then where you've got gaps in your calico, fill it in with the other green. That blends them very nicely together.
So could you tell us a little bit about these pictures?
Yes, well these are like the little ones that I make, which I treat them, I suppose, like little doodles really. They're a nice size, and there's something very pleasing about working on a size that's quite small because you know that the end is in sight when you're making. So I suppose I treat these, they're quite whimsical. And here's something here where you put one colour down and then you can put lots of little different colours on top, which breaks up the background. This one, oh, this one's quite an interesting one because of the way that I use the colours in it. Because I wanted to try using a purple and a flame orange together. I mean, I don't know whether it works or not, but it's quite interesting. I quite like the mix of it.
So what are we going to do today?
Well, Holly, I thought if it's all right with you, we'll make ourselves a little brooch.
Lovely, yes.
So, Holly, are you ready to make yourself a brooch?
Yes.
Okay. You need a piece of calico and a wooden embroidery hoop. And the hoop with the spring goes first, then the piece of calico, then the plain hoop, which you push in, and you pull it nice and tight, and tighten up your screw because you want the needle of the sewing machine to bounce beautifully off of your lovely piece of tight calico, like so. So if you feel happy to draw yourself a heart in the middle, and you don't have to use a drawing pen, you can use a light HB pencil. You need something that's not going to bleed through the stitch and the fabric. And remember, the smaller you make it, the less stitching you've got to do.
Oh, I've made it quite big.
No, you're fine. It'll be a nice big one.
Okay, and then the heart straight
Yes, draw
in the
the
middle.
heart in the middle. And don't worry if your heart's not even on either side. It'll be absolutely fine because everybody's drawing is unique. And that's why everybody's work is their own piece.
Right,
Lovely.
there.
Now, shall I show you how to get going? If I
Yes.
show you how to get going on this one, because it's a simple technique, just make sure it's a little bit tighter. And what you want to do is you want to be colouring in with the needle of your sewing machine, okay? So you make sure that the foot you've got on your sewing machine is a darning foot, and you have a size 80 needle. Treat yourself to a new needle and put your machine on. Make sure that your feed teeth are down. You have your tension onto ordinary sewing tension bar, and you want an ordinary running stitch. You don't need to worry about what size stitch length it is because you are going to make the stitch length yourself. Because the feed teeth are down, it's you that directs where the stitch is going to go. If the feed teeth were up, then the fabric would be pulled through the machine and that would denote the length of stitch. Does that make sense?
Yes, a bit.
Right, you want to bring up your bobbin thread from underneath, or let's put a green crown on. Bring up your bobbin thread from underneath like so, and I've got blue on the bobbin and green on the top, because what I want to do is I want to tighten up my top tension to get little bits of blue bobbin thread up from underneath. Then foot on pedal, and as you push with your foot on the pedal, you colour in. So I'm going to colour her crown in green, and I was hoping for little spots of blue to come up, and I think there's a few, just to break up the colour and to give it a bit more texture.
So you're sewing quite quickly, but you're moving the...
Yes. If you keep it still and sew, you'll get great big knots and lumps underneath. So as you sew, you move the hoop about, which denotes where the stitch line is going to go. And then once you've done all the sewing that you require, you cut off your top thread, top and bottom, and there you are.
So the thread you've used to colour in the line drawing?
Yes. There's the green and there's the blue on the back. And what I wanted was just tiny little spots of blue to come up in the green, and there it is.
Brilliant. Well, it looks lovely.
And that's from doing the different tensions. So by tightening up your top tension, you bring your bobbin thread up from underneath, so you can create little spots of colour.
So if I wanted to do a red heart with some pink coming through.
Yes. Have pink on the bottom and red on the top, and then tighten up the top tension, and then you get little spots of pink and red all mixed in together.
Lovely.
So Holly, this is what I want you to make. A little red heart in a little box. You can use a little bit of pink in the heart as well if you'd like to, or just have it plain red. We'll do it together, shall we? And I'll talk you through it. Great. Right, Holly, remember to start with your presser foot down. So put your presser foot down.
Oh, it is.
Then needle in your work, where you're going to start, which is in the middle.
Right in the middle.
That's right. As you gently press with your foot on the pedal, you move your hoop, which denotes where your stitch line's going to go.
And am I going in straight lines?
You can go in straight lines, or you can go from side to side. It doesn't matter. Go in whichever direction feels comfortable to you. And remember, you don't have to really beetle along. You can take it slowly because you'll pick up speed later on. All right? So do a few stitches first, and then you can cut your waste threads away. Great. Now stop there and then cut those waste threads off because you don't need them. And I'm going to leave that blue in that I've got in the bobbin, and I'm going to do mine a pink heart with little blue spots coming up from underneath, which will either look gorgeous or like a dog's dinner.
And am I trying to keep everything together, or am I just going wherever?
Go wherever. And if you feel that you've got little spots of calico which you haven't filled up, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be perfect. So do as much stitching as you want to, okay? And I'm going to draw directly with the needle of the sewing machine. And I've tightened up my top tension.
Now I've started straight with filling in the heart.
Yes.
If I wanted a black outline, could I go back over?
You could, but it would be a little bit tricky, but it would be good practice for your stitch lines. Well, I've drawn straight onto my calico, which has been rather brave, and actually it's been all right. And now I'm just going to colour in. So I'm going to follow my outline. Let's just see how you're doing, Holly. Oh, Holly, that's fab. You might want to just go round the outline so that you've got a red outline that you can keep within, if that makes sense. You know when you were small and you used to do colouring in and it was easy to put an outline around it first? Do that. Oh, Holly, that's great.
Don't go over the lines.
It's not that bad, is it? It's not too difficult.
No, it's quite good.
Remember, you can go in any direction that you want to.
If you're going one way, do you tend to stick with going the same direction?
Yes, because I suppose it just makes for a neater piece, really. But then that's entirely up to you, the artist. You do whatever you feel comfortable.
And where you've got the calico showing through, you just go back over.
Just go back over it, or if you're happy to have little bits of calico showing, then just leave it as it is. There we are. Well, you're almost done. Well done. And I'm pleased to say, I think it looks all right. It's not too much like a dog's dinner at all. You might find, Holly, that after a while it will become quite natural, the speed in which you go. I'm sure, are you finding that now a little bit?
Yeah, now I've got the hang of it, yes.
It's just practice, so it's best to start off slowly with just a little bit of pressure on your pedal, and then you'll find the more confident you become, the quicker you get, so then you can increase your speed. Well, I finished mine, so I'm ready to cut mine off. If I just have the scissors, I'm going to cut mine off top and bottom. Oh, well done, Holly, you're almost done. I think that's enough stitching, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful, well done. Cut off top and bottom.
Okay. Oh,
Now this
tricky.
is, you might want to, if you do that. Okay, if you just want to cut off top and bottom.
If you want them. So what's next?
Right, next. Next is the background. So choose a colour that complements your red heart because you want your heart to stand out, and then start to fill in. So you're going to bring up your bobbin thread from underneath like I did on here, although I had pink and blue and you're going to have turquoise and yellow. So the blue easily shone through and it was just altering the tension slightly, which is very easy to do. And I think you've got the top tension up here, so you just need to alter it to tighten it slightly. If you try it out on the side, and then if you like the combination, you can then put it into your background. Because if you did it directly into the background and didn't like it, that would be either a lot of unpicking or you'd have to start again. So Holly, try it out on the side, and if you like it, you can then put it into the middle. Sometimes, Holly, which I noticed before, you might find it difficult to get your hoop underneath your machine because the needle foot is situated much lower on other machines. So you can do that by lifting it up like that, and then hopefully it will slide under a bit more easily. Yeah?
There we go.
So
That's
bring
much
up your bobbin
easier.
thread from underneath. So don't put your foot down just yet. Leave it up. That's it. Now bring up your bobbin thread. So turn the wheel towards you. And as you turn the wheel, you pull on your top thread. And keep turning the wheel, and there's your bobbin thread.
No, I'm looking for yellow.
There it is.
There it is.
Do you want to use the scissors to get it out with?
There we go, I've got that.
Great, okay. So we pull on that and keep it out of the way. Now you can put your presser foot down. Needle in work. Great, and try it out on the waste piece of fabric round it to see if you like the combination. So give a few little bursts with your pedal, lovely. And have you got any yellow coming up? Might want to tighten up the top tension a bit more.
Okay.
So, that's it, try it on that. No? Let's take the wheel.
Oh, a little bit.
Oh, have you?
Little bit,
oh,
little
good.
bit.
Let's tighten it up even a little bit more then.
Right.
Try it on that. So you have to experiment a little bit. And of course, it's much easier. Oh, has your thread broken?
I've broken the thread.
Never mind. So Holly, you've tried out your colour mix on the side. Now I think it's ready for you to put it into the actual background of your heart. Okay? So bring up your bobbin thread from underneath. So needle in.
Okay.
Turn the wheel towards you.
Right. So
that's it, needle in towards you. Keep turning the needle and pull on the top thread as you do so, and your bobbin thread should come up nice and easily.
Oh, I've never done this before.
Oh, haven't you? With a little bit of luck. There we are, lovely. Okay, so you happy to do that while I do the background of mine? And I have got to draw a box round mine, and I'm going to keep my colour mix of having two different threads. So I'm going to have orange on the top and blue on the bottom, and hopefully have a nice little mix.
I'm going very carefully around the
Are
heart.
you?
It's quite hard and tricky.
I haven't started mine yet, I'm still just doing the outline around the box. It's just practice, Holly, isn't it? That's all.
Now, because I've changed the tension,
Yes.
my top thread's broken.
That's because by changing the tension to make it a bit tighter, it puts much more stress on the thread. So you might find that this happens, but the plus is you get such a lovely, lovely colour mix. Can you see? Isn't that fabulous?
It's looking great.
Persevere if you can. If not, then slacken off the tension and it'll make it a bit easier to sew it.
Okay.
All right.
It was on 8. I'm putting it down to 7 and
Okay.
seeing if that makes any difference.
Hopefully it won't make any difference at all and you'll still get that lovely mix. I'm carefully edging round my heart in orange and blue. I think I want to cut those top threads off. Have you got the scissors there, Holly?
I have.
Lovely, thank you very much indeed. Now I'm not going to race you, Holly, so whoops, at your own speed. And I think with my background I'm going to go in lots of different directions just to break up the background colours to see how that's going to look. It might make it a bit more interesting. The secret is, isn't it, Holly, to keep moving all the time. If you stand still, you get in a terrible muddle. Okay, so I've about finished mine, Holly. Are you getting on all right with yours?
Yes.
So I'm just going to cut my top thread and then my bottom thread. So there we are. It's quite a nice colour mix, I think. What do you think?
Yes, it's lovely and bright.
It is. And also, can you see the speckling that we've got?
Yes.
So we've got that nice dark blue coming up in the pink and then that light blue coming up in the orange. Shall I show you how to do the border?
Yes, do.
Right, need to take it out of its hoop. So just flip the hoop out. And then we need some nice sharp scissors. And we cut it off of the calico, about like that.
So you're leaving a border there?
I'm leaving a border of about, well, I want to say 1/2 centimetre, so quite nice and close. And then we need to change the foot of our machine to an ordinary sewing foot, which is this one here. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the orange in, and I think I'm going to leave that light blue in as well. And you want the zigzag to be quite close together. So on this machine, I've put it on a 4 and then on a 1, and then you use a piece of this stabilising fabric. And we're going to do a tight zigzag all the way around twice, like on this one here. A nice zigzag all the way around, and then we do the twist at the end. Feed teeth up. Nice wide zigzag, ordinary sewing foot on, and if I show you on this one, Holly, then you can do it on yours, okay? So we want the edge of the machine stitch to catch into our embroidery piece and then be taken right over to the edge of the stabilising fabric. And if you go around twice, it gives a nice, clean, crisp line. And then halfway down the last side, I'm going to cut off the waist thread here, which we don't need, top and bottom. And then I'm going to go around once more. So cut it away top and then bottom.
It's nice, the stabilising fabric hides all the messy background.
It does, doesn't it? It does. And then all we do is we simply tear it away. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to neaten it up get rid of a few of those little whiskers. And then we need to put our twist round it. Now, we keep the same wide zigzag, but we want the depth of it as if we were zigzagging over a selvage edge. So on this machine, I'm going to put it down to a 2. And then we want the edge of the machine needle to catch in the middle of our twist and then be taken right over to the other side. And we start with our feed teeth down. We lay our twist underneath and twist. And because our feed teeth are down, like when we were doing our machine embroidery, the fabric isn't going to move, so we can catch the end. And then we put the feed teeth up, we do a twist, and we zigzag down over it to the first corner where we stop. We drop our feed teeth, we do a couple of stitches, and turn, keep the feed teeth down, and then we catch the other side of the corner, needling work, and then we put our feed teeth back up, and then we zigzag over our next move twist. Now this is our last side, so we zigzag halfway down and we stop with our needle in our work. Then these lovely orange threads, we want to use those at the very end, so we tuck those underneath. We cut off the beginning of our twist like so, put those in the rubbish, and then carry on down to our last corner. So we get to the corner, we stop with our needle in our work. Feed teeth down, carry it over a few times, turn, needling work, feed teeth up, and we're just going to zigzag over where we first began, and then stop, and then just catch it at the very end. And this time we stop with our needle out of our work, press the foot up. We cut off the beginning of our twist and our sewing threads. So here we are, Holly, all finished. All I want to do now is sew those waist threads into the back, and then we can sew our brooch back on. Okay, I've got a needle here, and sew them into the back. And it wasn't too bad, was it, making a little embroidered heart?
No, it was
not
really
too
good
bad
fun.
at all. Good. That's a lovely little thing to make. And there, just cut off the last bit. We just do that so it doesn't come undone. And there we are. Right, you'll go.